Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell, and today we're going to look at the next part of the internal environment, and that is what we call key management roles. So most managers vary in the way they actually manage an organisation or manage people. But what they do is most of them will perform what we call management roles, and they use them in some form or another. Now, to remember the management roles, because we need to know all four of them, we can use the acronym POLC, and POLC stands for Planning, Organising, Leading and Controlling. So what we're going to do in the next few videos is go through each one of these one by one, and in actual fact we're going to split planning up into two different videos. So today we'll look at planning. So a definition, a process of establishing an organisation's direction or goals. So what it does, planning begins with the senior managers. So early on we looked at what a vision and mission was, and that is essentially planning what the organisation wants to do in the future and where they're headed. So that's where all the goals from that, or all the plans from that, need to be aligned with that vision. Middle management must then, and even department managers and functional managers, etc., they must then plan ways to carry out those goals, and then the lower management must plan the day-to-day activities to meet the longer-term plans. So it's broken down into three levels of planning, and so we'll go through each of those levels. So levels of planning. First level we have is strategic planning. So it's conducted by senior management. These managers set long-term plans for the company, plans which normally 3 to 5 years. So they're the big picture type planning. It takes things into account like the economic climate, financial performance, any kind of change in structure. It might be a merger or something like that. Anything that's really large that's going to take quite some time. It's a plan for 3 to 5 years into the future. Now, when you're asked a question to describe the levels of planning, there's a couple of things that you have to put in there. One is you have to obviously name the type of planning. Two, you have to name who does it. So in this case, it's senior management. You then have to give it a time frame. So for strategic planning, we've got 3 to 5 years, and then it's always good to give an example as well. So those four things, if you can put those into each one of the levels of planning when you're asked about it, that's going to really help your answers. So the next one, now for those that are watching this on YouTube, you may have different textbooks and different terms in terms of these next two levels of planning. You'll all have strategic, but instead of tactical, you might have operational there, and then where operational planning is, you may have frontline, but we're going to use this one because this one's in most of the textbooks. So tactical planning, that's done by middle management, and it's medium-term goals. So things that take place over 1 to 3 years. So this type of planning is normally taken place at like a department or divisional level. So when we did our structures, you had like a marketing manager for a functional structure. So they're department heads, and they undertake goals or have plans that for 3 to 5 years. 1 to 3 years. So an example of that may be in the marketing department, they have to increase market share by 15% over the next 18 months, something like that. And then we have operational planning, which is the day-to-day planning. So it's conducted by lower level management. Short-term planning, day-to-day planning, it could be, one of the examples we often use is that they're planning, a supervisor planning a daily roster or something like that. Okay, so they're the three levels of planning that you need to know: strategic, tactical and operational, or if you've got other textbooks, it will be strategic, operational and frontline planning. Either one is fine, but just keep in mind that you have to say what type of planning it is, give it a time frame, who does it and an example. So just to recap, we're going to go through each of our management roles. Today we went through the start of planning, then we'll go through organising, leading and controlling, and today's levels of planning are strategic, tactical and operational, ranging from long-term plans, medium-term plans and all the way through to short-term planning. So for all the activities and questions on today's topic, come over to teachingbubble.com.